I mean a video issue. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and do this assignment. So you do want to be doing this while I'm going over it with you guys. So first things first, let's go ahead and fix the margins, because right now, if you see, our left margin is wrong, our right margin is wrong. Now, what I don't want to do is, and you might have done this, because I did this, I've done this before when I was younger. I went up here to the margins and I just tried to click and drag them. Never do that, okay? There's a better way. So I'm going to go to File. So everybody click on File. And then we're going to go down to Page Setup. And click. And you see where it says Margins right here on the right? I want to change all of these values right here to 1, if they're not already at 1. So everybody go ahead and do that. So over here on the right side, I changed the top, bottom, left, and right margin all to just 1 inch. Okay. And again, the way I got to this was I clicked on File and then on Page Setup. Okay. So now I have 1 inch margins all the way around. So again, I went up here to click on File, and then I clicked on Page Setup, and I changed all these numbers on the right to 1, so that all my margins are 1 inch margins. Okay, so now it's like this. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and select all the text we have here. So there's 2 ways we can do this. We could either click and drag to select all of it, or we can select all, which is Control A. Okay? Okay, once we've got that done, so see, I'm actually in a small window right now. My Google Doc isn't taking up my whole screen. And so I'm missing some of my buttons up here. But it doesn't mean they're gone. It just means there's not enough room to show them. And so if you look, there's a little 3-dot button right here that's like kind of like 3 dots sideways. And that's my More button. So if I click on it, it'll show me all the buttons that are hidden. Okay? And what I want to do is I want to go to line spacing. So it's a little button that has an arrow going up and an arrow going down. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and I'm going to go to double. So I've double spaced my text now. Okay, and then next up, I want to center align my title here. So I'm triple clicked my title to select it. So again, I go 1, 2, 3. And then can somebody tell me, does anybody remember what the keyboard shortcut is for center alignment? We learned it a couple weeks ago. There's actually 3 buttons. Excellent. So I'm going to go Control-Shift-E, and I'm center aligned, right? Perfect. And then I also want to indent my paragraphs. Okay, so over here in front of a header, that's 1 paragraph, so I'm going to hit the Tab button. Okay, so make sure you hit Tab. Don't just press the spacebar a bunch of times, because it's not really the right way to do it, and if you change things later, it's going to mess up your formatting. So I'm going to indent over here. This is actually another paragraph right here where it says in ClarisWorks. So I'm going to press Tab again. And then it's really short, but in front of using, this is another paragraph. Okay, so I'm going to move my cursor over to in front of using, and I'm going to press Tab. Okay. So yours should look like this right now. If you guys have any questions, just let me know in the chat. Don't unmute though, just since I'm recording this. And Dylan, are you okay? It should let you click OK after you change those values to 1. Oh, no, I am Mackenzie. I'm just using a different software. I don't like using Schoology just because it deletes after like a couple weeks. Oh, no worries. Thanks for looking out, because it might have been like I forgot to start it, which can happen too. So I appreciate you watching out for me. All right, so we've done 1-inch margins, which is awesome. We have double spaced, We made sure that our title is center aligned. We've indented, right? But we're not done yet for the basics of MLA formatting, right? So, because the four basics for our actual text is 1-inch margins, double spacing, so we've done those two. There's two more though. We want to make sure that it's Times New Roman, okay, and 12-point size, okay? So stay with me, guys. So again, you want to do this while I'm doing it. So we're going to go ahead and click and drag to select all the text, okay? Or remember, we can do Control A and we'll select everything, okay? So if you're confused, just follow along with me where we are. So again, I clicked and dragged or to select everything. Whoops, I'm going to undo that. So I click and drag to select everything, or remember I can use keyboard shortcut, which would stop me from making that mistake that I just did where I just do Control A, right? So follow along with me, guys. So we selected it. Now we want to fix our font. So if we look over here, it's defaulted to Arial. That's not what I want. For MLA format, I only have two choices: Times New Roman or Courier New. So now you might not have Times New Roman right here. The only reason why mine is up at the top is because I used it recently. See how it says recent? And there's like a recently used section. And then underneath that, it has all the fonts listed in alphabetical order. So if Times New Roman isn't up here because you haven't used it recently, you're going to want to scroll down to the T section and you'll see Times New Roman, right? So you can either pick that one or you can pick Courier New. Those are our two options. So you can change it to either one. Okay, so I'm going to pick Times New Roman. Okay, now next up is the font size. Okay, so I want to go ahead and make it 12. Okay, so if you saw that to the right of Times New Roman, there's the font size. Now I could have also used the keyboard shortcut to either increase or decrease the font size. Okay, so now the main body of my document is MLA formatted because I did 1-inch margins, I did double spacing, I picked Times New Roman or Courier font, and my font size is 12. So right now I'm in a really good spot here, okay? Now what I want to do next is we still need to add the header and the heading, okay? Which header is the title of our assignment, right? So just like you saw in the video that I showed you before we started, that I made, and again, it's on Schoology, so if you watch that, you can watch that, you can watch this, either way. But I'm going to go here to Insert. Now, I do know you can just double click up here to get to the header. I don't like that though. I like you thinking of this as you're inserting something. So you're getting in the habit of clicking the Insert menu, because then, as you can see, it has all the other things that you could put in your document, like a table, a drawing, a chart. So it just gets you thinking in the correct way. So I'm going to click Insert up here. I'm going to go down to Headers and Footers, and I'm going to go ahead and select Header. Okay. Now I'm going to write in my last name. So I'm just going to put in last name just so that I don't want to put Letourneau because you might copy Letourneau, right? So write your last name up there, and it'll already default to being right aligned. However, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but it defaulted back to Arial. So I want to go ahead and select my text, and I want to change it to Times New Roman and size 12. Okay. After I have my last name right there, I want to put a page number. Now the thing is, I don't want to just type in a number 1. Okay. The problem with typing a number in is, I'll show you. let's say I move on to a second page, right? Look at that. My page 2 is also numbered page 1, right? So then I might go, oh, this is wrong. Here, let me change this to page 2. But let me show you this. Now, when I go back to page 1 is 2 as well, right? So the thing is, we can't just type a page number in because it's going to apply to every single page we have, okay? So we don't want to do that. So I'll show you how to do it the right way so that it numbers correctly, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to this insert menu. So I'm going to click on insert up here. I'm going to go down to page numbers. It's right below headers. Okay, and I'm going to pick this one right here. See how it auto numbers for me and it says 1, 2 and it's in the upper right hand corner? This is the one I want right here. And it's the top left option. I'm going to click on it. Oh, I moved it by mistake though. My cursor was actually down one. That's what happened. I'll show you guys. Here we go. So if my cursor is at the end, if I go to insert, page number, then one here, there we go. All right, so that's the header. Next up is the heading. I see some people have some questions. I'll go ahead and answer those right after I'm done with the heading. So just move on, we can fix that once I'm done. But what I want to make sure that I do is I want to make sure that I'm in the main body of my text. Okay, when I add the heading in, I want to make sure that I'm not in the header. Okay, sometimes people make the mistake of doing what I'm going to do next in this section. It's not the right section. We want to make sure that we're in the main part of the paper. Okay, and you're going to write first name and then your last name. So everybody go ahead and add that in right now. All right, now next up, you're going to put my name. So you'll put your teacher's name. So it depends on the class, but since this is, like you're in business tech right now and it's me, you'll just put in Mr. Letourneau. Okay, and then we're going to press enter again. And we're going to put in the class name and the period. Okay. And instead of putting business technology, I just abbreviated and put tech. So I put a period right there. And then I'm going to have a comma after it to separate the class from the period. And then the last thing here, the last line is going to be the due date. Okay. So for MLA format, you don't put the day that you actually started the assignment. You always put the due date. So this is going to be due on Friday. Okay. So today is the 26th. So Friday is going to be the 29th. And let me show you how to write the date, because it's not going to be in the standard format we're used to. So I'll give you guys a moment to catch up before I move on. So normally we'd put like January 29, 2021, right? But in MLA, the order's different, which is actually more in line with like the rest of the world. Because now it's like in America, we use like the standard measuring system. So we use inches, feet, yards, right? But the rest of the world uses the metric system. So they use like centimeters, meters, so on, right? Kilometers. So this is kind of one of these cases where like I think a lot of the world actually goes day, month, year. but we go month, day, year. So for this, in MLA, you're actually going to do the day first. You're going to put 29, and then you're going to type out the month as a word, and then 2021. Okay, and we don't, in this format, we don't need a comma. If we go month, day, year, you know how you put a comma between the day and the year, but it's because they're both numbers that you have to separate. In this case, we don't have any numbers next to each other, so there's no comma needed. Okay? All right, so